Hello, I'm David Fink, the Housing Policy Consultant for the South Central Regional Council of Governments. We're here today to talk about and introduce you to affordable housing and the people who live in it. Both are misunderstood. The residents of many towns oppose the creation of affordable and mixed-income homes because they believe the developments will be unsightly, won't mesh with their surroundings, and will provide homes for people whom they believe will be bad neighbors. We hope to clear up that misunderstanding. As you'll see, the homes these folks live in are beautifully designed. As for the folks who live in them, well, they're fine people. They're workers who do important work that simply doesn't pay a lot. They're young professionals at the beginning of their careers. They're families with children and dreams. They're retirees on fixed income. They feel grateful, even lucky, to have found their homes. One said, "I'd be living in my car if I didn't find this place." And they realize, sadly, that many people think they are dangerous or bad neighbors or just not as good as they are. But the reality is quite different. Affordable and mixed income developments provide homes for people who we need in our communities. They're the people who cut our lawns and cut our hair, who make our lattes and care for our elderly parents, who teach our children and keep us safe. They greet us at the doctor's office and make repairs on our homes. Research, backed up by example after example, has proven that these developments don't lower neighboring property values and don't increase school enrollments. They don't increase crime and they don't increase traffic. They are assets in their towns because they are built by reputable builders who maintain the high quality of their developments over the years, assess the qualifications of residents before renting to them, and closely watch over the living conditions. So now, let's meet some of the folks who live in affordable and mixed income developments. They are terrific people and good neighbors, and they have dreams just like the rest of us. Craig, a successful residential and commercial realtor in Wallingford, lives in one of 10 nicely designed rental units that look like single-family homes. Adjacent to the volunteer fire department, his home meets his need for affordable housing because things weren't always going so well for him. A series of setbacks, including some painful surgeries, left him with limited income and few housing options.
This is absolutely beautiful. As you know, the builder, he builds quality structures, as you can see here. And to come across this was actually a godsend for me, because where I was living previously, it was a 2-bedroom, but it was nothing like this. Older windows, and actually the rent was even more.
A former high school track star who ran in the Millrose games at Madison Square Garden, Craig understands how personal circumstances can limit income and require affordable rentals for many people doing important work. And he rejects the stereotypes some people believe about those who need affordable housing.
There's a lot of misinformation out there, and a lot of people are led to believe whatever they read on the internet is like, oh, it must be gospel. It is not. Unless you actually speak with someone, you don't know one person's circumstances. I don't know. People don't know my circumstances. I choose not to. But if they ask, and I'm a Christian man, I'll divulge that. But people have situations where they fall into hard times. I personally had medical conditions that stem back for years.
Except for one neighbor who is retired, Craig's other neighbors all work, look out for each other, and he says, enjoy the peaceful surroundings. Like Craig, those in the affordable units had to provide tax documents and other information to prove they qualified under the income limits.
The quality of life here is great. Great neighbors, North Farms Fire Department. It's quiet. We're all respectful of each other's property. I've had a lot of deliveries for other people from Amazon to here, but it is fine. It is safe, and it's enjoyable.
Craig believes his town and others should disregard the stereotypes that portray residents of affordable housing as dangerous or undesirable, and build more affordable units for the many people in Connecticut who do important work, but just don't get paid that much.
And I think what they need to do is really take a look at the quality of the structures, also the application process. People have to be vetted, and more importantly too is to follow all the guidelines that have been established by either by the builder or if there's certain criteria established by the town. I don't think there should be information out there saying, oh, it's affordable housing, you're gonna have this type, it's gonna attract this type of clientele. That's very, very misleading. And you can't judge a book by its cover. And I've had people in my profession, you look at them, you try to assume, but they look like millionaires, they may not be, or they look like they, flip burgers or something like that, but they're millionaires. So you can't judge a book by its cover. So you have to give every opportunity for someone to, explain to them, hey, this is the process, this is what we're building, and they need to collaborate. They need to get a think tank together and come up with a solution.
A Connecticut native, Art moved to North Carolina 5 years ago to be closer to his grandchildren when they were very young. But when he wanted to return to Connecticut 5 months ago, he found a 2-bedroom apartment would cost him close to $2,000 a month, a cost that would take more than half the modest Social Security income he earns. But a mixed-income community in Berlin with young families, workers, and many retirees like him is costing him only $1,400 a month and surrounding him with new friends.
It's wonderful. I could not believe how enjoyable it has been. The way these units are designed, and they're in these clusters that are kind of U-shaped. First of all, you can see your neighbors across a courtyard. I've met all of my neighbors. They're delightful people, most kind of my age, and we're already starting to kind of watch out for each other, which is really pretty important when you get to be past middle age.
In good health, Art is active, using facilities, even taking his neighbors' dogs for walks. He enjoys the peace and quiet.
I'm a dog lover, so I get to walk around and see everybody's pets. It's really a wonderful place to live. And I haven't heard anybody, and I've met dozens already, say anything about crime or things getting taken out of their mailbox or porch pirates. It's safe, it's very clean and well maintained. And I've enjoyed every month of my 5.
Like many affordable and mixed-income communities in Connecticut, Art's development includes a spacious, well-appointed clubhouse that all residents can use and reserve for large get-togethers. He met us there.
You could have 40 people from your family here. This thing has 4 or 5 rooms, a full kitchen, a conference area, a library.
Aware that many municipalities and their residents have resisted mixed-income communities like his, Art has advice for them. Pick a good developer and recognize that affordable developments can be well planned to be beautiful, safe, and well managed.
I would encourage all town officials to visit the community I live in, which has been owned by its developer for nearly 20 years and is extremely well taken care of. A developer whose model has been duplicated throughout other towns, many of whom didn't think that these kinds of communities would be an asset and now realize they're a tremendous boon to the ongoing life of that community.
After all, he says, many millennials, Gen Xers, and downsizing older people need affordable places to live.
Let's face it, most people realize that it takes a tremendous amount or a significant amount of cash to buy a home. You need a down payment. And if you're a young person who's graduated college with a mountain of college loans to pay off, and perhaps a job that isn't paying as much as you thought it might have when you wanted to go to college, these folks are really in need of something that is, an apartment community, but in keeping with both the character of the town and the economic and social needs of the town.
Just starting his career in the hospitality industry, Valentine needed a home he could afford near his parents in Middletown and his sister, so he could help her with her children and be close to his family. His 1-bedroom duplex in a quiet, mixed-income development in Berlin costs him $1,180 a month, a price he can handle because, as a front desk agent at the Foxwoods Resort, he makes a good, but still modest salary that qualifies him for an affordable unit.
So I wasn't going to be able to pay the monthly rent on top of my car insurance and my phone bill, all that. I wasn't going to be able to do that.
Valentine's development, with more than 70 units, is quiet and well cared for. It's run by a company that, like other Connecticut developers, carefully checks the backgrounds and credit histories of prospective tenants.
Honestly, they cut the lawn too much. They're literally on top of it. They are really, really good. So that is always top. They take care of that very well. Maintenance, it's really, really good. Anytime anything happens, I call them. They're here in like 2 days. No more than 2 days. They're here. Clean it up, take care of it, everything. So I never have to worry about that.
Valentine says his friends can't believe his apartment is quote-unquote affordable housing.
I'm making it happen. You know, I'm doing very well. I'm not struggling at all. You know, I'm like very comfortable with myself, surprisingly. That's why some of my friends, they look at me, they're like, bro, like, you have a decent job. You're not making crazy money, but, you know, like, you're able to, like, live in this very nice environment and just be comfortable with yourself. You're not struggling at all.
For Valentine, just starting his professional career, the chance to live in a quiet, beautifully designed community filled with families, empty nesters, workers, and retirees is an opportunity he believes many towns should provide.
Like I said, as soon as you're coming around the corner, you're like, wait, where am I going? You know, it looks more like a very nice condo-ish kind of place. So I would definitely recommend them opening more of these up because there's a lot of people out there that could definitely use this, for sure.
With several children to care for, Tony is a stay-at-home mom who skillfully manages the family budget on her husband's reasonable but hardly exorbitant salary as an HVAC technician. But if she hadn't found her sparkling 3-bedroom duplex in Orange for $1,400 a month, she would have been spending much more, close to $2,000, to get much less in the tiny rundown apartment they'd been living in.
I remember one time we had our air conditioner on and we had the window units, and I had to unplug my fridge and my stove in order for that to run for a little bit because it was short. So, and we had 2-prong outlets still. Nothing was up to code. It was terrible. So here we have central air and it's super efficient and we barely have to use it because it's just the ventilation system is amazing.
Finding her new development in Orange has vastly improved the family's living conditions and made their family life more affordable. But in Tony's opinion, that may not be the most important improvement in their lives. In her previous town, she chose to homeschool her children rather than send them into the neighborhood of her local school. She felt the atmosphere was unsafe for her children and said the school did not have the resources to meet her child's instructional needs. Sending her children to Orange's high-resource schools will improve her children's lives and their children's lives for generations.
Oh, this is going to set them up. I've always said if you don't give people the opportunity for the success, they're not going to get it on their own. You have to give them that opportunity, and they're set up for that.
Her new development, which includes mostly income-restricted units and residents ranging from lower-income workers to those with developmental disabilities, is beautifully designed and managed and filled with friendly neighbors.
You don't think danger when you walk out the door here. I'm not worried if my kids go out to play here. I know that everyone's watching my kids.
Her town and others should not be afraid of the people who need affordable homes, Tony says. They're good people, working hard, just don't make enough money to afford rapidly increasing market rate rental prices.
They should definitely open up a lot more places like this. I know there's so many people looking for affordable apartments, and and the schools are just amazing. I mean, almost everyone in here, they are the friendliest, hardworking people. And it's terrible to just judge someone by, the fact that, hey, they can only handle one job.
If you went to the doctor in the Hartford area over the last 50 years, it's likely the smile greeting you at the front desk belonged to Rhonda. As an experienced and immensely knowledgeable administrator, she worked at UConn Health Center and at Hartford Healthcare, covering everything from prenatal care to vascular and thoracic surgery. She learned all the conditions and terms and how to sensitively assist patients needing such care.
I learned a lot of medicine. It was very intriguing. It was a lot to learn. I tell you, you have to wear a lot of hats, but I gotta tell you, it was great. It was a great experience and something that I'll never forget.
A grandmother of 4, Rhonda lives in a comfortable 2-bedroom unit in South Windsor. But even after working for 5 decades, Rhonda must still work a few hours each week at a wholesale store to supplement her Social Security, disability payments, and energy assistance to afford her $1,300 a month income-restricted duplex.
I tell you, with the price of rental properties now, I will probably have to live somewhere in a very, very low income place.
Rhonda feels safe in her community. Her neighbors include families, retirees, single workers, professionals, and even several police officers whose modest market rate rentals meet their salary needs. Rhonda's recommendation: that towns provide opportunity for many others like her who need good affordable homes by seeking out developers with good track records who know how to manage their properties.
Everybody deserves a chance. And with that being said, there's always background checks. People are going to do that before they even consider you for a property like this or anywhere in a very, very good environment. So with that being said, never judge a book by its cover. There's a lot of good people that need help. Give them the opportunity.
For Sean, a professional photographer and videographer, a quiet duplex in Berlin is a springboard for his career. Rather than the market rate of $2,000 or more, he can pay $1,300 a month, meet his other expenses, and save a bit for the future. He enjoys his neighbors, but keeps to himself and obeys the rules.
It's just like being respectful. At the end of the day, me growing up, my mom and dad always told me to be respectful to elders.
For Sean, his eye is on the future.
And then it's just like, for me, I got goals, so I'm not trying to get kicked out of a place because of loud noise or parties or stuff like that. I'm just like, this place is perfect for me to focus and continue to do all the goals that I need to do without me stressing. And it gives me opportunities like how other people have opportunities, you know, when they make a lot of money.
And affordable housing, what does that mean to him?
It's all about giving people a chance because you don't know who you can meet, what you run into, and it's just all about getting to know people.
At 75, Dave is retired on a fixed income, his modest Social Security not keeping up with the rent he was paying in a 3-bedroom apartment in Branford. He was taking from his savings to pay the rent. Where would he be now if a new home at Parkland Village at $600 a month less than his last home hadn't come along?
I don't know. That's a very good question. I was very lucky.
Dave has lived in the initial Parkland Village apartments and the new remake. He enjoys the diverse range of residents, from his old friends to the new families with small children. His new home, he says, is expertly managed and maintained. His advice to other towns: create homes for people so they can prosper.
If they're not living in an affordable housing somewhere, they're on a park bench. They're in the green in New Haven.
And what about the municipal officials and residents who often oppose creating affordable homes for workers, young families, and elderly people?
Just so don't judge it before it happens. That's my advice. Let it happen. If you can put people into a home somewhere in low income, and if they can get on their feet and work, it's going to benefit the town. You know, they're going to put their money back into the town. They're going to go to the grocery store. They're going to go to the store to buy clothes. So the money goes back in and taxes all be paid.
For Kai, who had a difficult childhood in New Haven, her one-bedroom unit in the gleaming new Congregate Apartments in Branford had provided a sense of community and a way to belong.
My stability of home and things like that was a big problem for me as a kid growing up. So just even being in an environment like this that's more community-based, you don't feel like you're alone. You know, you don't feel like you're just thrown in some place and, you know, that's it. It feels like people care.
A children's dance teacher 3 days a week at the Boys and Girls Club of New Haven, and an aide at Parkside on the other days, Kai's salary still allows her to pay her bills because her rent is only $1,400 a month, including utilities. And getting to know the wide range of neighbors, from young families with children to elderly retirees, has taught her a lot.
Since I've been here, I've made friends with, I think, 3 of my elderly residents and / neighbors. I have dinner with them sometimes. I invite them to my house for dinner because they don't really have much family or not interaction with other people. So, you know, things like that I think is very detrimental for people, especially even the younger people. There's a lot of things that we can learn from being around the older group and things like that.
Hundreds of thousands of Connecticut residents are burdened by the cost of their housing, spending much more than 30% of their incomes on it. Even worse, many more are homeless. High housing costs are bad for residents, but also terrible for their communities and for the state. Spending too much for housing leaves too little for food, clothing, transportation, healthcare, and other necessities. And people who have little left over after paying the rent can patronize local merchants and pay very little sales tax on which the state depends for revenue. High housing costs will continue to hurt Connecticut until our towns create more supply. And they will not do that until town officials and residents can see that affordable developments are beautifully designed and the residents who live in them are lovely people. I hope this video helps show you the truth about affordable housing and its residents. We hope your towns create more of it and that you'll support that effort. The lives of many good people and the economic health and quality of life in our state depend upon it. Thanks for listening.